Hey guys, this is Ryan Bain again with Awakening Church, day 7 of building faith in 21 days, making war on unbelief. I hope that it's been a tremendous week, and I hope that you are growing in your faith and you're continuing to fast negativity and make war on unbelief. I want to share something with you today about identity. And Hans Christian Andersen wrote a story called The Ugly Duckling, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with The Ugly Duckling. And it's a story of a mother's eggs who hatch, a mother duck's eggs who hatch, and one little bird is, they call it homely in the story, and just gets all kinds of abuse from the other animals in the barnyard and even the other ducks, only to find out ultimately as the duck would grow that it's not a duck at all, it's a swan, and it's a most beautiful swan, and it was just running with the wrong tribe. You know, it's interesting that one of the most difficult things for people to do sometimes as we make war on unbelief is to really believe what God says about who we are. It's imperative to understand that our identity is one of the most important things that we can solidify in our relationship and our walk with God. Even the Israelites in Numbers chapter 13, verse 33, the spies are sent out to look at the land and to spy out to see what's going on. And they come back, and this is the report they give. They say, we saw giants in the land, and we were grasshoppers in our own sight. Grasshoppers in our own sight. It's the way they saw themselves. It's what they believed about themselves. The interesting thing about God is that He will always require from you that you know who you are in Him. There are three distinct men in the Bible who had encounters with God, and from those encounters, their name was literally changed. Of course, we know Abraham, we know Jacob, and Saul turned to Paul in the New Testament. But I love the story of Jacob, and I love when he's wrestling with God in Genesis chapter 32, because they get to the point, and you know, Jacob's name, it means supplanter, it means trickster, it means deceiver, it means all of these different things, and man, he lived it out pretty good. But as he's wrestling with God, he says, God, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. And God asks him the $1,000,000 question. He says, what is your name? In other words, who are you? In this place of wrestling, in this place of contending, in this place of asking me to bless you, do you know who you are? He asks, what's your name? And Jacob, I can just see him almost put his head down and say, I am Jacob. I am what they said I am. I am everything that they told me I was. And God immediately says, from this day on, you're no longer Jacob, but you're Israel. He changes his name as well as his identity. You know, we are adept in this culture with looking at people's issue. I could just take you through the Bible. We call Thomas Doubting Thomas. The Bible never called him that. But even in the Bible, we call Bartimaeus, it's blind Bartimaeus. We call the woman with the issue of blood. We don't even know her name, but we call her by her issue. That's because identity is a really, really big deal. Jesus' identity was solidified the day he was baptized, when God spoke out of heaven and said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. I want to encourage you today that we are heirs with Jesus and joint heirs. Therefore, we are beloved sons and beloved daughters. It's imperative that you get this in your war on unbelief, that you realize that you are exactly who God says you are, and that you're identified as a son or a daughter by the creator of the universe. Who are you? What do you believe about yourself? What is it that God needs to heal? Break agreement with any negative word. Break agreement with the ideas of what's been spoken over you and your identity, and receive identity in the Father. Let's make this declaration together. I declare that I am who God says I am. I declare that I am a beloved son and a beloved daughter. I declare that God's promises for me are yes and amen. And I declare that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. We invite you to join us even this morning at Awakening Church, 1725 Research Drive. Check us out on the web, awakeningky.com, or on Facebook at Awakening Church Louisville. Bless you as we make war on unbelief.